now listening to the Good Bad Advice Podcast with Stephanie and Chase.
Hello, and happy Valentine's Day week to our good baddies. We love you so much. We normally give it unsolicited advice to people in the news this week, but we are not this week. This is a special episode.
Advice to you.
We're giving unsolicited advice to our audience, who we just adore, first off. Oh, and I'm Chase.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we love you. We are really excited. We are just so grateful that you are. Is this a video episode, or are we doing a video?
No,
or just
it's video, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry about that, guys. This is just a short episode because I am right now on a cruise ship. By the time you guys get this, I will be coming off of the cruise ship and like dealing with the sadness of back to reality. So maybe I'll listen to this and I'm telling future Chase, it's still okay. We're okay. More tan than we've ever been.
You may not have untethered access to a twist cone, but you will be home.
I'm so excited to double fist those.
No, I love it.
I will send you a picture every day
of you with a twist cone.
Of me with a twist cone.
Yeah.
That is what I'll do every day for you.
Have I told you that Kevin will have somebody grab him a cone or be like, oh, can I have a bite of that? And then he'll bite off the bottoms of the cones.
Kevin belongs in jail.
Yeah. No, it's psychotic.
Just kidding, Kevin. We love you. But we thought what we would do for Valentine's Day. This is a special edition episode. Yeah. Oh, I did want to say this because we had just recorded our other episode that will be for the week prior. Our hearts absolutely go out to the victims of the plane crash in DC.
No,
it is so beyond tragic. I don't want to talk about the politics of it. I think it's gross if it's becoming political.
Why is it political? Like it's.
And while I was going to the bathroom in between our two episodes, another plane crash in Philadelphia. They just posted the explosion. What? So we're so sad for those that have lost lives. It makes me a little nervous to go on a plane, but you know my funeral plans.
I do, but also it's like the last time there was a plane crash was in like the 70s, I thought. Well. We're keeping it.
We're just moving on. We're moving on. Stephanie had to do an edit last episode, not last up, though 2 episodes ago.
Guys, it was so funny, but it also was.
There was a joke that was really, really, really borderline, and we're trying really hard not to offend people because if we can help it, it's
terrifying. And you guys, sometimes we say such funny things.
But if what you want. If you are wanting, Stephanie made a social cut for just me and her of this really, really funny bit.
Except it's me cackling over it.
And it is so funny. If you want it, you have to send us a DM, a separate DM, and you have to personally request it. And we are going to make you say, I will never share this with someone else. And you'll get a view once. We'll send it on the view once option. And we'll know if you screen record. So we will block you and we will roast the hell out of you publicly.
No, it's so funny. I've watched it like 8 times because it's...
the only person I've showed is Steven, and he was like, oh, it's a good thing you didn't show that. Yeah. It's like, that would have gotten you in major trouble.
No.
But it was so funny.
You guys, it was hysterical.
And just so everyone knows, like, we really try not to edit any of these episodes.
No,
like,
you
it's
rarely
so much
will get
work.
an edit from
This
us.
is just a fun thing for us to hang out and get to connect with people.
I've edited that joke, and then a few weeks ago, Chase gave a spoiler to Wicked that I did edit out because I feel like a lot of people...
We did it, and we were getting backlash, appropriately so, from some people saying that we were spoiling too much, which is totally fun. We're not coming at you guys. We love you, and thank you for keeping us honest. Sometimes, like, we actually forget we're recording an episode.
That's true.
Like, obviously, right now we know we are because it's a little bit like.
I think we forgot when you made that joke.
And I was just gonna say, because what happens is I'll typically make an inappropriate joke, and then Steph and I will like look at each other and move on. Well, either we'll just move straight on, or it'll go silent and it'll be like, we have to cut it. we in make the rare times, what happens is I'll start making the joke. Stephanie will just organically riff, and then I will start riffing. Then Stephanie will start riffing. We'll forget that we're actually recording, and then we'll finish like the laughing fit, which is what happened in this edit. And then we just looked at each other like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You're going to have to cut that. And so, but that's so much more work to cut it, and Stephanie's stuck with doing it. So we really try hard. That is part of the reason why there haven't been social cuts, because she's unfortunately been having to cut the actual episodes. And so we're going to really try hard. But if we say something inappropriate, just know that we're trying our best.
We're literally just girls, like, laughing.
Okay, we're not girls. We're a boy and a girl.
Sorry,
there it is.
I hate that. I'm literally just a girl making jokes.
And I'm just a guy who's apparently not super attractive, but really funny. Cut to
so much rather be funny though?
Yeah, no, funny is long term.
Like,
funny is because honestly, you could be funny, not super attractive, but dress well or dress cool or like have a vibe, and no one really is like, I guess he's not. I guess he's not being super attractive. It's like, no, people are just gonna make you cool.
And I'm also just like, think of like Bridesmaids, like the romantic interest on Bridesmaids, not attractive, so attractive in that movie.
Yes, agreed.
Like ugly people would have like never survived these days.
Yes. Okay, what our episode is for today, in preparation for Valentine's Day, we're going to share how both of us are celebrating Valentine's Day this year, kind of like if we have any traditions or kind of our approach to it. And then we're going to give advice to Valentine's Day people with kids, Valentine's Day advice to people who don't have anybody that are single.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day advice to people that are newly in a relationship, and Valentine's Day advice to people that have been in a relationship for a hot minute. So we've got 4 kind of groups of people we're going to give advice to. Maybe you fall into one of them. If not, you're probably like an animal listening in, which is like totally fine. Hi.
That was so stupid, and I loved it.
I didn't even plan it. Like, that's what's so dumb.
Funny.
Stephanie and I did not prep this episode at all. You're getting absolute organic. Do you want to share your Valentine's Day plans first, or do you want me to?
You go first.
So Valentine's Day with Steven started out a war. I'll be honest. Like early on in the relationship, you were aware, because I love celebrating. I love going over the top. I'm exceptionally thoughtful, and to maybe an unhealthy degree. Why are you laughing?
Here you are, just like, I'm exceptionally thoughtful.
Well, I just said to an unhealthy degree. I'm someone who will put over the top energy in, and it's disproportionate to what it calls for, and then I'll get resentful and my feelings will get hurt that it wasn't reciprocated.
You're like, wait, why
that's what I'm saying. I'm overly thoughtful. I don't mean it like I'm Christ incarnate. I mean it in terms of actually thoughtfulness, great. Overly thoughtful, not great. Just like being frugal. Frugal's great. Overly frugal, not great. Cheap. The overly to me is why I was trying to. I wasn't stroking my own ego.
No, I know, you're fine.
But so when we first started dating, it was rough because there was just expectations that were not communicated. General advice, one, on a Valentine's Day, be very clear in your expectations.
Exactly.
What you want. Is the number one advice I can give, is to be clear. And second advice, do what works for the relationship. So Steven and I decided we're not going to do gifts. Doing Valentine's Day gifts just creates too much anxiety for Steven. And so I will often be like, hey, for Valentine's Day, let's do blank. We could buy these for ourselves or whatever. But we always do a card. So we always make sure, because cards are important to me. And gifts are important to me, but Steven doesn't really like either of them. So I was like, great, let's just do cards. It's cheaper. And then we go to a nice restaurant. This year, we're kind of excited because our friends, Emily and Greg Freeman, we are going out to dinner with them.
Fun.
At HSL.
HSL is good.
We both have gift cards there.
Fun.
So we were like, let's do that. And in celebration of him being cancer free. Which honestly, happy. I don't want to talk too much about because I cried when I found out 2 days ago, and I talked to Greg about it, and he just said, sorry. He just was like, there's something about feeling clean.
Yeah. And
I was just like, that is so beautiful. And he it's just layered, and it's so great. So that's what we're doing for our Valentine's Day this year. Low key, but just like a restaurant. And then we get there and we read each other's cards to each other. We read the card, which I think is nice. I think
a cute touch.
Reading the card to each other and then giving it to them is kind of beautiful, because you get to hear their voice, and then it hits different receptors in your brain and the chemistry of it all. So that is what we will be doing for this Valentine's Day.
I will say emphasis on the clear expectations.
Yes.
I feel like there is, I would say particularly with women, there's this just read my mind expectation of just well, he should just be thoughtful, or he should just.
They want that sort of romanticism of the surprise. I didn't even have to say anything, and he brought me a thing of flowers, which, that's romantic. I get that.
It's just also.
But do you also just want the flowers?
Yes. You want flowers, you want a chocolate, or you want whatever you want for Valentine's Day. Say, I would love flowers, chocolates, and this gift, or flowers, chocolate, and one gift.
Right.
And here's the thing. In the way that you're but that's not romantic, he's not surprising me things. You are teaching him or your partner, whoever, that's what you expect by asking them for that specifically.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people hyper focus on a very narrow definition of romantic.
Yes.
Where they're like, it's not romantic if you have to ask for it. Says who?
Yeah, no, wrong.
If you were to say,
it's
actually,
what I want.
Yeah, but it's not like either you can have the surprise or you can have, or you can have
I don't
expectation.
feel that way.
I feel like we need to stop treating romanticism in a very one lane, one size fits all way. I think it's totally okay to say, actually, what I would love is this.
No.
And the fact that they're doing it for you is romantic, because it's romantic stuff is a sharing of love.
They are fulfilling your expectation. Like, I feel like, do you want what you want, or do you want them to surprise you?
Yes.
Like, and that should be the difference maker for you.
To me, it's either, do you want to be surprised or do you want your needs met?
Yeah.
Because spoiler alert, the surprise, flash.
Yeah.
Surprise, done. Needs met, satiating.
Yes.
So you got to decide, do you want a surprise or do you want your needs met? And if your needs met is, I want you to surprise me, you don't get to describe, you don't get to define what the surprise is.
Okay, and here's the other thing too. If you want a surprise, then you also have to temper your expectations.
That's what I'm saying. You get the surprise, you don't get to say what it is.
And also, like, I feel so passionately about this.
Me too.
Because
I didn't realize I felt so passionately about it.
No, I feel so passionately about it because I have so many friends who are like, oh, and they didn't do anything. And I'm like, and what did you tell them?
Right.
And like, if you want to be surprised, you still need to say, I would love to be surprised.
I want one surprise. And then they say, great. And then if you're navigating, so if you're on the other side, not just expressing your needs, but if someone's expressing your needs, you can ask clarifying questions. Yeah. That does not kill it. And to the person who's
do you want to be surprised by dinner?
Needs,
do you want to be surprised by the
how
gift?
Much money do you want me to spend?
Yes.
Do you want something perishable or do you want something more of an investment piece?
But that's also like when you are giving the surprise, you can say, I want a surprise, but these are some things that would be a good idea.
Yeah, and that's where I'm just saying, if you're going to express your need, you don't get to say, and I'm only, nope. You need, if there's follow-up questions, clarifying statements, whatever, that someone says like, okay, do you mean like surprise for the restaurant? You can't be like, I don't know, surprise me. It's not a game.
No.
Like, that's actually a really good point. Gifts are not games.
Yeah.
Holidays are not tests.
Yes.
Expectations are never met if you do not share them.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if we could be more clear.
Valentine's Day, not a measurement of love.
No, Valentine's Day, one day out of 365.
Yeah.
Period. And it's most of the time a dinner. Stop treating it like it is Hunger Games and everyone is just opening their eyes, blocking out the sun, artificial sun, and running to a cornucopia and just like a bloodbath. That's you're creating a really unfortunate experience if it's like, it needs to be blank. It needs to be this.
Well, and even like I remember, I don't know if it was like our first year of marriage, but like I was at work and like women started getting flowers and I was like, well, did Traven send flowers to my job?
Right.
And then I was like, well, why would he send flowers to my job? I have literally never asked him.
Right.
And like, it's the other thing too of just like, if you are a person who likes flowers, is him going to the grocery store on the day of Valentine's Day and getting you a bouquet of flowers that's a random mix enough for you? Or like my friend Meg at work the other day was like, for Valentine's Day, if it's not a 3-digit number, like I don't want the flowers.
Yep.
And you know what? Like that's her freaking prerogative.
Right.
And that's her expectation that she is also given to her husband.
Well, I feel like people, if you are not comfortable sharing your expectations, it's because you have not thought about them enough.
Yep.
And you then don't get to put the responsibility for someone to figure out what you expect on someone else because you weren't clear. You don't get to say, I didn't realize that's what I wanted. No. If you're not bold enough, if you've not done the internal work enough to know what you want, do not pass that on to someone else.
Or I will say, I think this is also the reason why we do not give our expectations is because we don't feel worthy of the things that we are expecting.
Yeah.
And you know what? In the wise words of RuPaul,
If you can't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love someone else? Can I get an amen up in here?
Amen. Like,
the other reason
to know
is
that if that's your expectation, it's because you feel you are worthy of that, and so you need to communicate that.
Yeah. Or your expectation is not realistic, and you don't want to set your person up to fail. Yeah. That's also an issue.
That's true.
Like,
be realistic.
Be realistic.
If your budget is not 3-digit flowers,
then
do not ask
don't
your
be
man
asking,
for 3-digit flowers.
I want you to get me a car. That's insane. No. That's not going to be up for us. But if you share it, be open. And just because you share it doesn't mean you're going to get it.
When I was growing up, I like heard somebody say once that they're like, oh, for our Valentine's Day, he always gets me a red dress, and then like we go out to dinner. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then I got married, and I was like, first off, Traven's birthday is February 6th. Mine's March 7th. We're like in the middle.
By the time this episode airs, happy birthday, Traven.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody, happy belated birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Great. Now we can't monetize this episode.
Freaking A.
Oh, my gosh.
Keep doing this towards us. Anyway, by the time I got married, I was like, this is so not important. Like, what I really want to do is, like, I'm pretty standard. I want flowers, and I want them to be, like, gorgeous. I don't need them to be 3 digits. I don't even need you to go to, like, a specific place. But, like, don't just get me 12 roses. Like, red roses. I'm not a huge fan of red roses. Unless there's 50 of them. I don't know why. A bunch of roses, red roses,
carrot,
lame.
Little, yeah, agreed.
A big bunch.
A Kim Kardashian,
roses,
Kanye West.
I would be like,
yeah,
that's hot.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I want flowers. I want nice chocolates, like C's, or like something that you would have to go to a candy store for. Like, don't just like go to the grocery store and get me a variety pack. I want like nice chocolates. And like, if I'm like want something that year, I'm like, I might sneak it in. But really, like, my birthday's coming up.
Yep,
so we
10th.
Almost never do gifts.
March, not February, by the way.
But
hang on, I'm gonna say something that I don't want you to take this.
I'm not gonna take it personally.
The wrong way, but I just had this thought while you were sharing. When you share your expectations, most of the time you're only doing 50% of the work, because you're focusing on what you want. I think it's also really, really valuable to focus on what you're planning on giving. To be like, hey, I just want to also set the expectation. Here's what I'm thinking. Now,
what do you want?
Here's what, and it's what do you want? And here's what I'm thinking of doing for us. And if you don't treat relationship conversations like a your needs versus my needs, and you look at it as like relationship needs, that's an evolution in the dynamic. To be like, hey, I just want you to know, like, I'm also planning on getting a waxy wax, and I'm going to be whatever. Like, I think if you're going to have that conversation, and if you're nervous about asking for things, one of the good ways is to be like, hey, and just, this is not just about me. This is an us holiday. It's celebrating our love, our relationship, if you're in one. And so that's this actually, we kind of did a reverse. The suggestions we've given right now have been for people that are in a relationship. Yeah. So we'll cover that, but say what you're going to do for your Valentine's Day. What your plans generally are. I mean, I don't know if you've
generally
made them yet.
Plans are we do a dinner and like celebrate each other's love, a card, like just we voice how much we appreciate each other on that day, versus like we need to go do an activity, like,
and just no fighting that day. Everybody needs to not fight on Valentine's Day.
But also, I am way more of a fan of going to dinner before or after.
Agreed. I was just going to say,
on the day
celebrate
of Valentine's
the holiday,
Day,
not the day.
Stay in.
Yeah, celebrate the holiday, but not the day. Celebrate the meaning, not the day. Okay, now advice for people that are in a new relationship. Like, let's say under 6 months. Expectations are very, very clear.
Yep. Same advice stays.
Same advice in a lot of ways, but I would say lower your expectations.
Yep.
It's your first Valentine's Day. Some people would say you got to start training them immediately. We're not animals. We're not dogs. We don't need to be trained. Like, in some ways, yes, but in other ways, I don't think so.
So
I think new relationships are not great.
And I did say that earlier. Like, I mean more like you were giving them your expectations. Like,
no, that's not what I mean by training. Yeah. I mean, some people would view a new relationship like you got to start them early. Like, I've heard. No. I've seen the videos.
I do understand, though, like, let them know what your expectations are.
Yep.
don't expect something crazy.
And my advice always to people that are first holiday, Christmas, whatever, Valentine's Day, these are kind of the big ones, Thanksgiving, is make it fun. I think sometimes it's so I think sometimes Valentine's Day is so hyper focused on like the romanticism of it all. The red roses, the heart-shaped box of chocolates, the negligee, the fancy dinner, whatever. And there's place for that. Like a lot of people get that. Also be open to like the fun. The laser tag date, the bowling, the just spending time, the like it's new, and don't put the pressure on new relationships. Older relationships, they can bear the pressure. They've had some time.
Yeah, like you don't
new
need
relationships,
to go to Valters. You don't need to go to Ruth's
you don't need
Chris.
to have it be.
Like,
And
go to
it doesn't
Color
need to
Me Mine.
And it doesn't need to be on just the dude to plan. Like I'm gonna say it. He's also in the relationship. He deserves you to be planning something too.
I agree.
He deserves it to be like, hey, what are we doing?
Also,
and if he's like, I want to play Call of Duty together, give him that, and you get what you want too, but be open to the fun.
Also, a good idea for your first Valentine's Day is to double with somebody.
Yes.
Because it like takes off pressure. It's more of like a fun date. It's like...
And communicate that too. Like a lot of the advice I think comes back to one of the principles of like communicating. Because if you're communicating like, hey, this is our first Valentine's Day. Let's not let it be super stressful. Do you want it to be stressful? Oh, hell no, I don't want it to be stressful. Perfect. I think we could go out with Stephanie and Traven, and we can go out together and we do like something kind of fun, the four of us. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Taking off the pressure is such a gift to your relationship.
If you love your parents or like you with your friends, go out with your parents, which like maybe they'll cover the tab.
Yeah, double win.
And then you don't have to pay for your Valentine's Day.
Yeah, do extra win.
Yeah.
I just think
strategy.
New relationships don't need the pressure of a very old, antiquated holiday. Like,
and hopefully you don't have like whoever you go out with being like, oh, we're all in love. And
I say just let it be. And honestly, advice for if you're in a Valentine's Day and it's going south, it's like a new day and everyone's like, oh, I guess I'll go out. Totally fine. Just go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, and be like, "This is gonna make for an amazing story one day." And go back and be nice.
Fantastic story about this.
Like, be nice. People that are trying hard, even if it doesn't land for you, be nice to them. So those are advice for our new. Now, advice for singles. Advice for our folks that are either just fresh out of a relationship, haven't been in a relationship for a hot minute. There are so many different people Valentine's Day celebrates than just a romantic.
It's love.
It's celebrating love, general.
We usually text each other on Valentine's Day.
You and I always do. Of just like, hey, I text a bunch of different people. I make sure that I'm letting people that I know and love and care about, that I do love and care about them. It's kind of a perfect excuse just to flood the world with some positivity and some love. And so if you're by yourself, like if you're single, you don't have to be by yourself. Galentines, if you're a bro, Galentines is like
female friendships
everything. That have that solid built in, but guys don't.
Yeah.
And so if you've got like a brother, if you're listening to like
golf.
I was just gonna say, if you've got a brother or something who's like single, invite him over.
Go to Top
if
Golf.
You've got a buddy,
go to a movie that you wouldn't like normally go to by yourself. Like,
and I get that guys may not care, but in the event that there are people that you think may be feeling a little bit whatever. That's okay. One of my favorite Valentine's dates I ever did was we made homeless kits, like hygiene kits for the homeless. And I actually had my kids, nieces and nephews, whatever else, write Valentines, like make homemade Valentines.
Yeah.
And we put them in little Ziploc bags with like hand warmers, whatever else. And so on this date I went, which was very early on in dating, it was like, oh, okay, great. We're going to do like a service project date. And so we went and delivered all over Salt Lake City these homeless kits. And we were passing them around and we got hot chocolate. And it was just like a super chill date. You could do that with anybody. If you're feeling down about the holiday, you need to stop looking at the mirror and go look outside.
Well, and also like, I think on top of all of that, like make a plan.
Agreed.
Like, don't just sit in your house and wallow. And I think the other thing too is like, you always like don't feel in control of it when you're single on Valentine's Day. One year, like my friend had a very serious boyfriend and she was out of town on Valentine's Day and he took me out to dinner for Valentine's Day. And like, I really like there is a person who would be like, oh, he's pitying me because I'm not in a relationship. But like, be with somebody. Like,
yeah,
make a plan.
Or if you're like, actually, I'm going to just be at home by myself. This is shout out to Christina because she's helped me see that being intentional with your time.
Yep.
So if you're like, actually, I'm going to take myself out on a date. Don't just be like, I guess I'll just like stay at home by myself. Be like, all right, where do I want to get dinner from? This is a Valentine's Day for me. I'm going to get dinner from here. I'm going to call so-and-so on the road. And then I'm definitely watching Bridget Jones's Diary, whatever.
Yeah. And then I'm going to watch my favorite rom-com.
I'm going to watch the games. I'm going to give myself $50 to spend at Target. I'm going to listen to my smut on Audible while I walk around with a Starbucks.
Be intentional.
Like you are the author of your life.
Yeah.
You get to experience. You want a good experience?
Romanticize your own evening.
Romanticize your own holiday. Romanticize your evening. Be kind.
Get a dessert for yourself. Go to Harmon's.
Yes.
Oh, make your own chocolate covered strawberries.
Totally. Like if you want it to be a good experience, make it one.
Yeah.
If you want it to be a good experience and you don't make it one, the likelihood of you having a good experience is really low.
Yeah.
Babes, that's on you. Mm-hmm. Now, our last advice for people who have kids on how to navigate Valentine's Day. Be very open ears, open eyes to your kids the day before and after Valentine's Day. There was this really, really interesting article that got picked up by a couple people on social media that were talking about it that I saw this past week about the pressures in elementary school, middle school, and high school on kids because they've watched parents and they've watched TV shows and they've seen the romanticism of the holiday.
Yeah.
It is a very stressful time for kids that are navigating what it means to be in a relationship or to have feelings or to catch feelings or to feel excluded or their crush didn't end up giving them a Valentine's back or their crush did give them a Valentine's Day. If you have kids, make sure that you are just a little extra keen on listening to them, asking them questions beforehand.
Yeah.
I'm sad that a lot of the Valentine's rules now prohibit you from having candy or, Valentine's Day boxes or whatever. But whatever you may be doing, I would just say really keep an extra watchful eye on your kids.
Well, and I know a family too who they do a Valentine's Day dinner as a family and it's like separate. It's whatever the weekend is. And it's just like a love dinner where they all just like, and then as the kids got older, they were able to bring like their boyfriend or girlfriends there for the dinner. And I'm like, I love that idea. I love making it just like, oh yeah, no, Valentine's Day is not just for mom and dad.
No. And I have loved my kids with their mom have done a good job at doing like heart attacks where you cut out hearts and you put them on people's doors and you have a little tray of cookies. If you're looking for an opportunity to say that like with your kids what to do, do that for some of the senior citizens in your neighborhood. Go deliver flowers to them, particularly widows and widowers. Holidays like Valentine's Day are sensitive, and so it's great if you've got grandparents that you could go visit for Valentine's Day. Like I just think you can expand your expand what the Valentine's Day experience is and lean on that.
Well, and like expand what their ideas of it. So like if you are asking them like, oh, do you have a Valentine? And they say no, be like, oh, but what about your friend? Like what about Stacy? What about Willow? What about this person? Like they're your Valentine because you love them.
Right.
And let's go get them Valentines from you.
Totally.
So like, even though at school you can't give like candy or blah, blah, like, oh, we should deliver like a Valentine or like a small bouquet of flowers to them. Let's go to Trader Joe's and make them all like little bouquets. Yeah. So your friends get Valentines specifically from you. Yeah. Like this is all goes back to though, like, look outside yourself.
Yes. I think if you're going to make Valentines, which is funny because on the one hand, we're saying, we're holding two truths at the same time. Yeah. Be clear about the expectations if you're going to make it about your what? We hold these truths to be self-evident. If on the one hand, yes, if you're focused the inward part of yourself of what you have to be clear about what your expectations are and to share them. That's still important. We're not saying it shouldn't be. But that's only half the equation. Yeah. If half. Because the other half is what am I going to do with this day to celebrate love? And if you are in a relationship, it looks different. If you're not in a relationship, it looks different. If you've got kids, great. If you don't have kids, great. But it is a holiday that isn't meant to exclude anybody. It may inadvertently, and the commercialization of it may make you feel like it's excluded you. But realistically, if you want to make it a bomb-ass holiday, you can. Yeah. You're in charge of that, so do it.
Yes.
And to that end, we want to wish everybody a very, very happy Valentine's Day. Please send us, tag us, share a picture with us. We're not kidding. We would love to do a how you spent Valentine's Day little carousel.
Yeah.
And so send us pictures of how you spent Valentine's Day.
At
and
the
then
very least,
we
you
would
guys
love
should watch
to do
About
that.
Time with your partner.
You should watch a good movie. Whatever your tradition is, do it. And then send a picture of it. Tag us in it, DM it to us. We're going to do a carousel of all of the ones that we got tagged just to kind of show the breadth of what the holiday could be. Period
Heart.
Anything else, my queen?
No, I love you guys.
We love you.
And I love you.
And I love you. Thank you for honestly being such a great friend for so many years. We met when we were 6 and we're... But some of the things that I love about
your oldest
Stephanie,
friend, but I am your best one.
You are absolutely my favorite of the favorites. And there's so many others listening, so don't get your feelings hurt. Megan, Cassie, Steven, Tron.
Here's the thing.
But
a lot of people love you. And I'm willing to share that love.
Mm-hmm.
It's why I'm like, no, I'm happy for you that you got to go to Valters.
Yes, well, thank you. I do want to share a couple things I love about you. I'm going to take this time. One of the things that you guys don't maybe like you don't get to see about this side of Stephanie every now and then is that she's someone who will sit with you in sad. Like that is one of your superpowers because like she is joy, she is yellow, she is sunshine, she radiates that goodness. But also when you're like needing sad, it is so funny over the years. There's been so many times I'm like, I just need to call Stephanie and just feel better about life. And you can do that. Stephanie is also incredibly creative, like so talented, very juggernauty. It is stunning how talented you are on that conceptually. Après ski, different events, the watercolors, how you've designed your house, like your taste level. Like Steph has a very, very, very good group of all of that. And the other thing I'll say about Steph is that very, very resilient.
Yeah.
Like I don't think life has been terribly kind to you in different waves of time. And if people knew some of the challenges you've navigated and are continuing to sort through, I'm not surprised that so many people rely on you and lean on you and find friendship in you that way. But just like the perseverance and the being willing to kind of like, maybe that's the sit in this storm. You've sat in your own enough that you're like, I got content, I got character that way. But she is resilient as hell. You really are. So you do a good job.
Not me about to cry.
No, don't cry.
That was
But those are just some things I love about you. And I may not see you on Valentine's Day, so I'm going to just say it here. And then I'll send you like a note and I'm like, JK,
okay, well,
none of that was
I'm
real.
go into the things I love about you.
Okay.
Just
a pause. Episode record scratch.
What
Apparently I'm not very handsome.
What are those things? Where could I find those things in my memory? One of the things like I admire so much about you is you are always, and like as a person who is this, you are always the most fun person in the room. Like I challenge literally anybody to have more fun than Chase at literally anything. You could put him in a padded white room and he would be having the most amount of fun that anybody has ever had in a padded white room. Like you bring fun to literally everything. It's like you're talking about the cruise and you're like, I've made a word search. We're doing a spirit week. We have wigs. Everybody's done this. And I'm like, no, you actually orchestrated all of that. Like you are the maestro of fun.
Well,
you make everything literally like such a freaking blast. It's like even when both of us are in a lull or if we're like, oh, we're just going to do a chill night, I still know I'm going to like leave having been like, oh, that was fun.
Well, thank you. Babe.
The other thing that I love about you is you always have a pitcher to fill other people's cups. Like you, I can show up halfway and I will leave full. Like every single time, if I am in a place that I'm like, I am not here, like I cannot bring anything to the table, you will fill up my cup. Like, and I watch you do that with so many people in your life. Like, you are walking around with pictures constantly, just making other people feel full. And it's part of why I'm like, there are so many people in your life that like are like, oh, Chase is my best friend, is because you were constantly filling other people. Like, I was giggling as you being like, I'm overly thoughtful. He is. Like, you are constantly filling other people's cups. Maybe sometimes to your own detriment. But like,
we're working on it in therapy.
We're working on it. We're actively going to therapy.
Totally.
But you don't need to for that, because it's such like a special trait. And even when it exhausts you, the thing is, like, you can always turn back and be like, but I am giving to other people. And that's something I can always feel good about. Well, my last thing I will say also, insanely loyal. Like, you will unhealthily. Yeah. And that is something we see each other.
Yes. We are cut from that same loyalty cloth. No. Born both by our moms, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I could literally walk into a room and be like, there is a person outside who just said words to me, and you'd be like, we're going out there right now.
Totally.
Ready to throw hands. More metaphorically, I don't think either of us would feel comfortable truly punching somebody. Yeah. I'm like,
please, I'd have to take off 1,000 rings.
Also, like, I could not take a hit to the face.
Me neither.
But like, if I was like, Chase, there's a man outside harassing me, fear of God. Like, yes, you would literally stand in fire for your people.
I would. And you are my people.
You are my people.
Well, happy love day to you, my queen. They're like, oh, get a room, you perverts.
Get a room, you
we
sentimental
tried.
friends.
It was never going to land. Well, on that note, but we do love you guys. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, now they're going to be like, wait, have they like kissed?
We've never kissed.
Never.
Never.
We're looking at you. Never.
Never. Ever.
I know Chase keeps winking, but we literally have.
We've never done anything.
There was only that one Halloween that
I
we
was
got
just
really
gonna
close.
say one time, the Pete and Ariana.
We were a couple.
It was not a big deal. It was for a bit.
We did not kiss.
We did not actually kiss.
Stop winking.
I'm being honest. All right, you guys, we will see you in just a little bit, but happy Love Day. And do us the solid and send us what you did on Valentine's Day. We would love to share it. And I think everyone would love to see what other people did as part of the Good Baddies.
Send us your traditions.
Send us what you've done. All right, love you guys. Bye. See you on it tonight.